This is the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of Music City Real Estate,
where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
My name is Monty Moore with Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and I'm Carey Ann with CFG Financial and my mortgage team.
Every week we'll be posting a new episode chock full of Nashville real estate value.
Yes, and you can follow along and subscribe at thetalkmusiccity.com.
Got a question for us? Ask away at questions@talkmusiccity.com. That's questions@talkmusiccity.com.
I got a little tongue-tied there because we have so many new guests in our in
good to see you, Carey
today.
Ann.
So good to see you.
It's always a pleasure.
I love.
You have your shirt on today.
I do. I'm rocking out.
Music City Real Estate.
Who would like one of these amazing shirts?
I'm surprised that people aren't lined up.
If they comment below, they could get a free shirt. How about that?
Comment below. Yes, comment below.
Comment below, and you can get one of these cool free shirts. It says Talk Music City, because that's what we love to do here, is talk in Music City. Plus, my fellow singer over here, we don't just talk, we sing too.
Come on, what can we sing?
I love it. We're not going to sing right now, but let's introduce this fabulous lady. We definitely have the one and only Jason Hoover in the house still.
And he has brought his best half with him.
Yes, we talk about you all the time, but you're never here, so we're so excited that you're here.
Mindy Hoover.
Miss Mindy Hoover, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She is beautiful, she's hardworking, and she also can carry a tune like no other, so we love it. And I'm excited about our topic today because this is one that I think a lot of agents dabble into. Maybe they're more successful than others in this conversation that we're going to talk about today, which is what, Monty?
I'm looking forward to it because my wife and I do the same thing, and that is work together as a husband and wife.
Husband and wife team in real estate.
Husband and wife team in real estate. How exciting is that? Because I know a lot of folks out there are, there's a lot of agents I've talked to just even recently that are thinking, or they're trying to twist their spouse's arm to get involved in the industry.
Yes, I could not, but I think it's amazing. He twisted
her arm to get in.
Oh, you did?
It took me a while, a lot of twisting to get her.
Did it turn into a dance? Twist. Oh, I love that. Well, we can't wait to get started and talk more about it. But before we do, let's talk about our amazing sponsor,
yes.
Music City Removal Company. They are the #1 junk removal service in Nashville from residential, commercial, and construction. They're experts in ridding you of junk. Their costs include labor and dumping fees without any hidden or added expenses. Whether you need a full clean out or just one item removed, they have you covered.
The Music City Removal team knows the importance of respect and trust while in someone else's home. They understand the inconvenience of junk left behind by previous homeowners and tenants and are determined to provide an affordable and customer-focused junk removal service that puts you first. For a free on-site estimate, go to musiccityremoval.com. That's musiccityremoval.com.
Yes, because Music City Removal, because clutter ain't cute. Too funny.
Right.
I got tongue-tied again because I was thinking about this. Last night I was saying, we were talking about how we needed to get all this junk removed in the garage.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, clutter ain't cute.
Clutter ain't cute.
Call my friends over at Music City Removal. So thank you so much for your continued sponsorship and support. Yes. We appreciate you. So let's talk about working with a spouse in real estate.
Before we get too far into it, let's find out the backstory, okay?
Yeah.
Because the conviction is,
where did you meet? No.
No.
Oh, that's a fun story.
No.
The conviction, of course, is that before people believe the message, they have to believe the messenger. So I know everybody believes in you, Jason, because you've been here and sharing and so forth. But who's this suspicious-looking lady next to you? How'd you get her involved?
It wasn't easy. It was not easy. But as far as the backstory is, when I'll fast forward a lot to when I was already in real estate. I just knew that this was right up her alley, and I was like, she could do so much better than I can. And I mean, if I can just trick her into getting in the real estate, that'd be great. She finally did, and man, I mean, you see where she's at now. It's exploded. It's amazing.
She comes from a teaching background, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes, my degree's in teaching and performing arts. So, being out in public, being on stage in front of people doesn't really bother me that much. So, and being a teacher a teacher that's in the performing arts, you're away from home a lot. Mm-hmm. You're highly in demand, I guess you would say, at the school and with about 200 other students. So, and I mean, the pay's great, but, it was not enough to keep me away from my family all the time. So I've really had to make that decision to join him in real estate, actually see him sometimes and see my kids. And so it's just been great. It's been, teaching was great. I loved it. I was very passionate about teaching. But when you get to a point where what's more important, spending time with somebody else's kids all the time or yours. And that was my personal decision.
Yeah. But don't you find you do probably a lot what you did before, which is educating? Like you just kind of move from one education to the next with the consumer?
Yes. When you're a teacher, I think that agents that were teachers before, it's a really great transition because you are continuously educating your clients and other agents on how you could properly do things and
other agents.
and other agents.
I was just talking with my staff too. I think a big part of the success with some agents is the showmanship, is the performance, because there's some days that we're not feeling the best, meaning there's a lot of stress, but it takes a unique person to be able to put that to the side and continue to perform, continue to be there with a smile on their face,
That's right.
So having those skills, I think, puts you above the rest.
I had a very dear friend one time. I was having a hard night before performance, and she came in and she said, "Mindy, put your lipstick on and get on that stage." And I went, "Oh my goodness, that's brilliant." And I've kind of carried that with me. Like, yeah, I had a really bad day, but still got to put the lipstick on and get out there and do what you have to do.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to tell Jason in the future. Jason, get your lipstick on,
Just
get it back out there.
Yeah.
I carry it with me everywhere I go.
Chapstick, babe, chapstick.
Chapstick on there.
So, we talk before in a class about, you're a big believer in the DISC test, and that probably goes into the marriage counseling of all this, to be able to work together as a team. But, are your personalities very similar? Do they complement one another? Does that make it work better? I know.
You already hear the laughing.
Yeah. When Jason and I said we're going into business together, and everybody's like, "How long is that marriage going to last?" Because it was, we actually never really spent a lot of time together. Yeah. He had his own career and was so,
we're highly driven individuals.
Yes.
And that's where we connect, is we're both D's.
Okay.
We're both D's now.
Workaholics.
Yeah. Workaholics. Like we literally never stop. We'll be sitting outside, enjoying the weather, working together. Yeah. And we love it.
Both very happy with that,
what
right?
Separates us and what makes this work so well is she is the I. She is the one that she'll get on the phone and call, whereas I got to pick up the phone. The thing is about 15 pounds, or I've got to go to a room and get set down because I'm the C. I'm the data person. So it works out well that way, that we're both highly driven and focused on a goal together now, but I guess we help each other's strong suits.
Yeah, and when we had two different careers, we were so driven in different directions, we never really communicated a lot. And so I think there was more arguing and more.
Was.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, there was. And when we were going two different ways, because he had his own thing, mine own thing. So now that we have a common goal, and it's a lot more profitable for one, but it's brought us together. We understand each other now.
Yeah, it's brought us together because we share a life in work, and because we're workaholics, that's our whole life. Well, now that whole life is together. So for us, it's actually helped our marriage.
Yeah,
so do you take a lane, like in this business, there's a lot of pieces to it. The puzzle's got many pieces, right? So do you know that you're taking the top corner and you're taking the left, bottom corner? Does everybody have their lane, or do you try to all do it together?
Yeah, so definitely so I do all. She is the personality. She
Smile
is
on the wave.
Yeah, she's the personality. I mean, she's like the
parade, dog show.
Yeah, I mean, she's amazing, and that's why I even tell her, it's like, I just want you focused on helping the clients.
Sure.
Let me do all of the back end stuff. Let me take care of all the stuff that's going to get in your way. I don't, because she's brilliant in that way, because she's able to relate to the clients and help them and find them and focus.
And that's a special talent in itself.
Very special talent.
That's amazing.
Very special talent, and that's why I said, I don't want you bogged down with all this. So we're going to have contracted close, have somebody on your team taking care of that. We're going to have the ISA taking care of all of that. I'm taking care of the rest of the stuff, so you can be brilliant in what you do.
Love that.
Yeah, I told Jason last week. I'm so sorry.
I was just saying, what a great team.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Thank you. Yeah, I just told Jason last week, I said, if I didn't have that contract to close, I would have drowned last week with the closings that I had, because because of COVID and everything else, there has been some difficulty with closings. And so having someone to have my back doing that was really, really great. So yeah, him seeing, oh, she has these weaknesses, let's just fill those spots up with things that can help me.
I think it's important. I was talking to another gentleman yesterday about, the degree of psychology. I mean, we forget that sometimes we have to be the psychologist. There's a lot of emotion with people, especially with COVID right now. Maybe they thought this was to be, or that wasn't happening, and they thought they were going to get 40 hours back, but now they're only getting 35. Like, there's a lot of emotion, which trickles down with that frustration or stress, and that all comes with all kinds of reactions, and that we as professionals have to deal with that. So how do you stay calm and don't follow their lead, and how do you work through all that? So having someone just focused on taking care of the consumer is so important. So that's a huge win.
So did you guys know right when you came out of the box, for those listening, for those agents still, torn whether or not they want to get into a environment where they're working as spouse and spouse, did you guys know your lanes right off the bat? I assume you did.
Yeah, we had a really good idea that...
Because you were in real estate for, a couple of years before Mindy got her license?
Yeah. We had a pretty good idea now. I mean, obviously, you have to refine it and still try it. And I think we finally found the right,
mesh
formula. Yeah. That getting started was a little troublesome. It's just it's a new business. And I will say this, yes, it is scary going, pre-COVID, going in, that we had one that was an income that was constant month over month.
Right, true.
Because you got that you can expect and have your bills paid on that. Then all of a sudden you're both on commission, solely. So that was one of the okay, this is going to be exciting, and so we did it, and that's kind of how we've lived our life the whole time. We just jump. And just and figure out how to swim later, but I think that's part of being entrepreneurs.
Absolutely, yeah. I've dived in many different pools this year. I'm glad that I've learned a few strokes along the way. Some I drowned in, but you keep jumping in, right? You just keep trying, and you wouldn't be where you are today if you didn't, right? I mean, you have to have a little bit of risk in the mix, of what you're baking. I think that's really important. Don't you think?
Mindy, how hard was it for you to leave teaching behind and embrace a whole new career that was nothing except that, like Carey Ann said, there is certainly an element of teaching. So I found, just for the record, I have found teachers to be one of the best in the real estate business because of that patience, willing to work for little on the beginning, certainly, if not forever,
Hopefully not forever.
Not forever, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
The value that you brought was maybe not compensated at the level that it could have been, certainly in that industry. But how long did it take you to acclimate and be good with that?
I would say probably a really good year just to really feel comfortable in my own shoes. When you've done something for 15 years and that's all you know. And, I remember when I was deciding that I was not going to be a music teacher anymore, which I still do a little bit because you can't just leave your passion. But, I had some crying spells, I'm going to be honest, where I was like, this is all I've ever done. I've been a musician my whole life. I don't know how to do anything else. I'm not good at anything else. And Jason's like, whatever, so, went to the training, went to the classes, and I'm so self-driven, kind of like what he was saying, that I have a hard time not being a master at something. So I had to hold on a little bit longer than probably he wanted me to. And he'd be like, you're fine, do it. I'm like, no, I'm not a perfectionist at this yet. I don't, and, no, you look over it again. Look over my contract again. Do it, So now he just looks over all my contracts and does all the numbers because he's good at that. I'm like, why should I,
what a great asset. Might as well lean into that.
Yeah. I'm just like, hey, just look over this. But yeah, it took me 6 months to really feel comfortable. It took me a year to feel like I knew exactly what I was doing and I was doing it correctly, and he wasn't having to hover as much and everything, because we both wanted to be successful. He wanted me to be successful. So like I said, I think it's different for everyone, how long it takes for them to gain that confidence. But for me, it was 6 months to a year.
So there's some spouses out there that don't have any children. So I know you guys are great parents to 2 children, right? So does that fuel the drive anymore? And then how do you balance, being a business owner? Because I do believe we're all CEOs of our own business within a business, right? I think that's super important that you should embrace that, number one. And then parenting is another business in itself. Like that's another full-time job, right? So how do you work through all that?
Very carefully. I shared before the story on, when I was in corporate and not spending time with the kids and always gone, always working. So, and it's kind of one of those things that we are so intentional that, yes, we are building something, but we're also making sure that the life that we're building includes our kids.
Oh, great.
So everything that we're doing, we're focused on making sure that they're involved. And that's the beauty of this business. Yeah, we work hard, but we can work hard around our kids. Mm-hmm. And so, we may be on the computers, but they're there.
At ball practice, but I was there.
You were there.
Right?
Check. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and we're present, we'll put the computers away and, and spend time when we go out together. I mean, it's always got to be intentional because whenever you're so driven, you can't easily get off track and just be 100% business.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard. I mean, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Aubrey's like, "Mommy, you're always on your phone."
Yeah.
I'm like,
sorry, babe.
Want me to take your picture? We like try to change it up, type of thing. But it is they're both full time and very important, jobs, and so you guys do a good job of that.
So I don't want to paint a picture that this is all roses.
No, it's not.
Rose petals that you throw at her feet every morning when she wakes up. And
you do? Wow.
Like I do for my wife, because we work together. I don't. But seriously, let's delve into it a little deeper.
So I'm going to talk to Connie.
Yeah, right. Well, I know that my timetable may be a little different than Jason's. So that can be a struggle sometimes. He's gotten a lot more patient over the years. But like today, he was like, "So where did 3:30 go?" I'm like, "It came and went."
2:30.
And now, 2:30 again. He's like, well, I was like, 2:30 came and went, and now it's 2:40. And he's like, let's get out the door.
That's the C. That's your C concept. Yeah.
We said 2:30 we're leaving the house, and here it is 2:40.
My makeup was finished at 2:30. I just hadn't changed my shoes or put my jacket on or, it's details.
Things happen.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so have you set up any rules as far as, okay, I mean, for instance, let's say that's the bedroom door. Do you talk business past the bedroom door? That was something that Connie and I tried at one time, that we're not going to talk in our bedroom about business.
No.
But it didn't work. It worked about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Never going to happen.
I mean, I think you're doing good at 5 minutes. And I believe in setting boundaries. But here's the thing is, we love what we do. So not talking about it it's actually, just the opposite. It's like we love going out. We'll go out together on dates, and sit down and we'll talk about business because that's what we do. That is our life. That's what we're building. It's not work.
Right.
So that work-life balance. What do you think about it?
Well, that's what I mean is that is our life. And so since it's a topic that we both enjoy very much, why would we not want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that because now I can feel better talking about
right.
That's all we talk about.
This is our life, babe.
Yeah, we're talking about our life.
We're talking about our life.
Talking about our children is what Connie and I
See, my personality, I don't think could work with my other half. Just because I'm so driven and I'll just run right over that individual. Like I don't know
it's
if I would.
It's not easy for Connie and I because you and I are a lot alike. Because it's all it is, just thinking about work all the time. And we have to, fortunately for me, or not unfortunately, however you want to look at it, I don't have a 7-year-old reminding me, hey, there's other things in life.
Right.
Like this. But
my thing is I try to in the morning say, I'm coming home in a good mood. Does not matter what my day is going to be. I'm going to come home in a good mood. So
that's intentional.
I try to scream it out all the way up until the door because people it's just my industry is very difficult, right? I mean, there's a lot of stress that comes with that, and so you want to get it out in different forms of did you know that kind of thing, but you have to let it go. So I've been working on that. It is a work in progress, but
I don't know how you do it, Carey Ann. I don't know how you help the families you do, and so cool about it because as some of our listeners know, I tend to drive on the negative side of some things, or cynical side of some things, and you're little Miss Lollipop and making it all positive and so forth. I don't know how you do it. I'm not putting anything down on that. I'm just saying I don't know how you keep such a positive attitude.
Well, it's not
dealing
easy.
with the changes, dealing with the challenges that you have.
Well, I mean, all of us can probably address this. There's a lot of negativity going on right now. I mean, it's coming from all different sides and
crazy,
different channels, etc. And so I'm dealing with some things, at the office that I just have to choose for it not to take me down, and so I have to choose to find a positive outcome, and I shared with my whole staff today, the person that calls you on the other line doesn't know the rest of your story, doesn't know that you've had a bad day, doesn't know that you worked 15 hours and you're on your 16th. They don't know that. All they know is that they're looking for a new mortgage, and rumor has it you're friendly, and so, and you get the job done. And so that's what we're talking about, Doc Show. Like, you have to be on point. So you try to find the positivity there, because the other person is just not going to get it, in my opinion. So, and when you're negative, that draws the next person to be negative, and then all of a sudden, in 2 seconds, your entire office is negative. So,
and
stay positive.
And to that, bringing that into a marriage, because it's a very stressful time. So that stress lands on both of you at the same time. So that becomes a struggle. That becomes a point where you kind of have to just go separate. Take a deep breath. Grab a beer or a glass of wine or something.
I was going to say that, but wine helps a lot.
So I taught this personality test. So instead of the DISC, DISC, right, it was what animal are you, right? And it actually came out of my marriage whatever book, how to have a better marriage. Are you a lion? Are you an otter? Are you a golden retriever? Or are you a beaver? And we did it in the office to figure out who each one of us were. And then when you're talking to a consumer, maybe what they were, right? So you understand how to be more of a chameleon, et cetera, et cetera. But as soon as you learn those personalities more, instead of just a D that you're driven, like you understand how you're going to respond and what drives you crazy and how you want your emails written, all this stuff, and how a beaver is expecting perfection on day one, and things like that. It makes it so much easier. So when working together, if you know your personalities, the folks out there that are married, you'll quickly realize if those would ever mesh from a working standpoint together, right? So I'm telling you that dragon was not on the list, but if it was, I would have been checked of the dragon, and that does not allow me to be working with my spouse. But I'm just saying, there's all of us out there.
Well, that's why I wanted these guys to come on, because I think they're a great example. Connie and I do work together, and I'll be the first to admit it's not been easy, because we don't turn it off, and because there is so much pressure. And I took her from a very comfortable corporate position that she was doing fine with, and the day that she had decided to get her license and help me out on a part-time basis, that day my assistant of 3 years quit. And so while she's on the top floor in her office, giving her 3-week notice, I was getting my goodbye notice from her. And so when she came down the steps, I said, "Hey, welcome to real estate," and had to shove her into the deep end of things.
Right.
That was her baptism by fire.
She's loved you ever since.
Oh, yes. There have been many times where she wanted to go back to that corporate comfort, but anyway, so we're building a legacy, as you guys are building a legacy. So if there were 3 things, you guys, if there were 3 things that somebody listening could take to heart that would help them through the process of, first of all, maybe deciding if this is what they want to do as a couple, or exceed and maybe gel quicker or benefit by the experience quicker, what would those 3 things be? I didn't give you any sort of heads up on that. I know. But.
I think number 1 is really
just 3.
I think the number 1 for, at least for me, is really being honest with what your strengths and weaknesses are going into it, and because there's always a personality who thinks they're good at everything, but we're not. So admitting I'm not good at this. And I know that they can fill that void, and if they can't, then you hire someone, and just knowing going out the gate.
Yeah.
I think that's a great point, because I think sometimes the other person may take some things by default, which they're really not good at,
and that
causes more stress.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, and so working together can be a lot of fun. We held the 2 mega open houses back to back this weekend. It was exhausting.
Oh my goodness.
And then the following day, we had all of the offers.
10 offers to weed through, then, right?
12.
12 offers.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah. So, but it was a blast, and we got to do it together. But so answering your question is, just the opposite of that. Can you? And you got to be honest with yourself. Can the two of you deal with the stress? If you don't think you can deal with that stress, it's going to cause even more of a divide. And fortunately for us, we've dealt through a lot of stress in our life. So, that's, and we're still together after all of these years.
Like we can do that. Yeah. We can do anything.
If we can deal with what we dealt with in the past, this is nothing. But in all seriousness, that is probably one of the biggest things that would cause a marriage in real estate to fail. So I'd say that would be, number 2. Do you have a number 3? I would say finances. Definitely, because that was a big thing. Both being on 100% commission, do you have the finances to carry
through that process?
Process, yes.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest, because that can also then add on another stressor if you don't have your finances in line. And being creative with getting your leads and all that stuff, and not pouring a ton of money.
I think agreeing to where the money's spent, is
Yes.
that important too, I would think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just finances, period. Yes.
Well, Mindy, I'm so proud of both you guys, but especially because I've known you for quite a while, and when you guys came in here about 9 or 10 months ago and decided to make the change from one big company here to our small company at the time, and I've watched you go from number 40 in our company in production to now number 15. That's pretty amazing. That is pretty amazing. It must be your help.
Congratulations. Congratulations. That's awesome.
I'm just kidding. But I really am proud of you. You've done amazing. Having been around this thing for a long time, I would agree with your main squeeze here that you're a natural. There's no question about it.
Well, thank you.
But to have him to backing you up, you're especially a natural in the way of couples. So I want to make sure those listening don't think that everybody is that perfectly fit.
Yeah.
But now, can anybody who wants to in their hearts, accomplish something like that? To some degree, absolutely. But know your strengths, like you said. Know what lanes you're best in, and don't try to take everything on by default if it's not your deal. And focus on those areas and build up momentum in those areas.
And hire it out. If neither one of you can do it, hire it out.
Right.
This was a great talk today.
Yeah, I'm so glad we got to bring this lady in and talk to the backbone, the main squeeze behind this guy right here. We're so grateful for your husband, and thanks for sharing him with us on a weekly basis
Yes,
here.
sir.
And we know if anybody out there maybe have any more questions about working together, if their spouses want to work together, and maybe they can reach out to you. How can they reach out to you? How can they get you?
Yeah, absolutely. Just give us a call. We'd love to talk to you about it. And as you can see, we don't give you the fluff. I mean, it's going to be a real talk.
You guys are the D's. Straightforward.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's
What's the number that they can reach you at?
Mine. Yeah. 615-585-9946.
Perfect. Thank you guys so
you're
much.
not going to sing for us before we?
No, we'll tune it out here in just a second. So thank you guys so much for listening another week. We just love having you every week. For more episodes of the Talk of Music City, please visit talkmusiccity.com. We'll see you next week.